Hello and welcome to the fifth and final interview in my Smash VAT series. I am so excited. I can't believe the series has come to an end. I'm very upset about that, but I am very, very excited to be talking today to Cheryl Laidlaw. I know a London web girl. She's a founder of CC, and we are going to be talking all about the realities of actually going through VAT as a business owner. So earlier on, we've talked to financial coaches, we talked to bookkeepers, we talked to accountants, talked to another business owner that went through that, and now we're going to round it off with Cheryl. So Cheryl, do you want to introduce yourself so everyone gets to know you?
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Laidlaw. I run a web design agency called CC. I'm known online as a London web girl. So all my socials are London web girl. I can pretty much build a website in a day, and I run a podcast called Women of the Metaverse, where we talk about all things Web3.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Web3. We're going to stick with, we're not going to go to Web3 today though. Web2, we're staying LinkedIn.
We're staying Web2.
And I've got you on here today because you are an example of someone that has gone through that. And I just want to share like the realities and the story behind it. And you, as we were talking just before about it, is the fact is you were not someone that had this 0 to above that in like a day. We're not an overnight success. You're not one of these people that did the growth spurt straight away. So I just want to share a bit about actually like your journey of your business of growth, because I think it's also really useful for people to realize that different people do grow at different speeds.
Yes. So I started my business when I was 26, and I got to swear then, I shit you not. My websites, when I first started, were about £600. So to say it was a slow burner is an understatement. So for a good few years, I had a bit of imposter syndrome, but we climbed out of that about 5 years into the business, and I actually hit the VAT threshold in 2020. So very recently, I've always been under it, and again, wasn't desperately trying to stay under it, wasn't desperately trying to get over it. I mean, obviously everyone wants to earn more money. I was just trying to stay afloat and be successful. And what does that also mean? It means obviously earning money and therefore reaching their VAT thresholds. But so I actually reached it in 2020. We were keeping an eye on it for the last 3 years. He was like, right, this is my accountant. I've always had an accountant from day one. I wouldn't be without one. I couldn't do any of that stuff, and I don't want to. So 2020, I looked at luckily I had QuickBooks, and it shows you the rolling year of how much you've earned. And I just looked down and I was like, ooh, 104,000. I think I need to be VAT.
You think? The only reason why I laughed was this is exactly what Sally Farrett talked about. So if you've not listened to interview 4, Sally talked about this idea, like you've got to keep an eye on your 12 months rolling, because it's really easy for people to lose track, especially if you just have like a few bumper months and you don't pay enough attention. All of a sudden, whoops.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. So I felt like it just crept up on me, but it was the writing was probably on the wall for a while. And I did get the heads up from David Finn, my fantastic accountant, who said, keep an eye on it, Cheryl. All right.
Well, that's good. And that's good because, we've had some conversations about that. It's not always an accountant's job to tell you about that. Like, not everyone will tell you. And also this idea, like, making sure you are using your accounting software to keep an eye on that 12-month rolling, because it's easy just to do, like, your accountant could just be doing your like accounts for the year, and you look at that number, and if it crosses over a year, you could have actually like gone over without realizing, because that's not what you've been monitoring.
I hear it a lot actually about people thinking that it's the accountant's job.
Yeah,
it's your job as the business owner to take care of everything ultimately. And that took me a while. That took me a while to realize. I'm like, right, I really do need to be ahead of everything.
And I really like the fact that you admitted, like, what your pricing has changed. And this is something that is really important, is that, like, when we've been talking about this idea of like wanting to increase your revenue, make more money in your business, is actually, as someone that was providing a service. Like, you are a classic online service provider. You make something, it's done for you, it's your time that goes into it. Your pricing actually has a real implication that, when you're charging £600 for a website, like, that's I can't even do that math in my head right now. That's a lot. That is a lot of websites you'd have to do. That's probably not possible. And so it's not. But obviously, as you gain confidence and you raise your prices, it's changed, like, what is the potential for your business. And so for anyone that's watching, that's the thing. It's like, what we're talking about is you might not actually have right now in your business the financial capabilities to get there. And that's fine. But it's just, if you have got the capabilities, if your pricing and your way of working means you can be making that amount of money and you've been holding yourself back, that's what I want to try and stop, rather than someone trying to force someone to do something that's like physically impossible. I'm all about reality.
I mean, pricing is such a massive thing that we don't. I don't know. It's so easy for me to say, oh, you should be charging more. Oh, yeah, I can look at all my clients and say, I think you should put your prices up, or X, Y, Z. But actually, it's how we feel in ourselves, and that whole imposter syndrome that just sneaks in every now and then and goes, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to charge that.
I mean, pricing I always say pricing services is so different to pricing as a product-based business, because product, you just do it quite logical, it's quite emotionless. You literally can be like, this is how much it costs me, like, this is how I want to put a profit margin on it, and I'm going to ship it out. But services, we just do put ourselves into it. We just, it's just natural. It's obviously something like all of us are always trying to work on. The more confidence you have, the more you work on, like, your money mindset, the better it will get. But it's definitely, I always say to people, I would rather people have their prices at a rate they can really confidently sell, and then try and increment it, than try and be like, let's go for something massive, and then they're like, don't want to put on their website. We know how I feel about that.
My prices are on my site.
I know you are. I know you're not going to be one to have to tell off. But no, but this is the thing, it's just, like, your pricing will have an implication. But as you said, you were growing your pricing, you had an accountant, you were monitoring it. Now, obviously, it sounds as if it happened, even though it took a long time for you to get there, then when it happened, it was quite a quick thing in terms of being like, you realize that you're like, ooh. One of the biggest things that people start to worry about, and this does come back to pricing, is this idea of, if you get VAT-registered, most people are like, well, I'm going to have to put my prices up, and that's what worries them, because then they think, I'm going to lose all my clients. So was that something you worried about, or was you just like, I don't care, or was you somewhere in between?
Well, about 60-70% of my clients are VAT registered, so it was kind of a smooth transition for me. I think I was one of the lucky ones. There was a few where there's a few templates online actually where you can again, I always ask for 50% up front and then 50% upon completion. And then I had that whole, I'm now VAT registered conversation. And I actually searched the web for some template emails that I could send to my clients to say, give you a heads up, this is happening next month. If you would like to get, if you would like to not pay VAT and get under the, you have to pay me this month. So there's templates out there. And I really like it, because the one that I found was, thank you so much, because of you, I have been able to go VAT registered. And so I had a lot of congratulations, well done emails back. And then most of them, like, we're VAT registered. Great.
So they're fine. Okay. No, and that's a really, I really like that idea, actually. Like you said, like, you're thanking those people, because like they have played a part in helping you to grow your business. And actually, and that's what we said as well, like, actually, for some people, obviously there will be some people that are like, they don't want to pay the extra money if they're not VAT registered and you're putting the prices up. But also, again, like, you did the right thing about contacting people in advance. And this is something that really does depend. So, like, it's quite an interesting one with you, because I forgot that whole thing of, like, someone could have, they've paid off, they've got this expectation, the second half, and that's like, maybe not. And this is some of the conversations we say, like, with people that have got like a retainer business. It's this idea that actually they're the people that probably have the harder pricing conversations, because you've already, like, in a contract with them, you're already in an agreement, versus if you're someone who does very small jobs and so that your time working with someone is very short, and therefore you put your prices up and you get new clients. It doesn't make a difference. So I'm glad you shared about those templates.
All these things you have to bear in mind, and yeah, I can send the templates on if anyone wants them. I've got them in my folder.
I hope you still got them.
Yeah, I have. I don't know why I still have them, but I definitely have them in my template emails folder.
And obviously, like, you're quite lucky in the sense that you like actually I had a high proportion of people that are clients that you're working with that were already VAT registered. Have you seen that actually you have continued to go that way and it's gone more and more skewed to bigger businesses that are VAT registered?
Yeah. And I don't know if that is the universe, manifestation, or I don't know, but everyone that inquires now is VAT registered, and it's just bliss.
Just bliss. Just such a weird way to describe it. Just bliss. Well, there we go. What was I going to say? So one of the things was when we were talking to Sally on last week's episode, so that was episode 4, she was talking about this idea that it's like once you go through it, you've got to keep on going. So it's definitely not this thing where, and she was really honest to say to everyone, like, do your number crunching. Like, actually, if your maximum capacity in your business is for like 95,000, it probably ain't worth going, ended up being VAT registered, because if you're going to do it, it's like you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about what happened after you got registered, the next 2020, so the next 2 years?
How's it gone? It's kind of just stayed more or less the same.
Okay.
I think there was like a $4,000 difference from 2021 to 22. Yeah, 21 to 22. So I've kind of stepped over it. And it hasn't really. I mean, it'd be great to double it again, right? But yeah, it really hasn't made it. I don't want it to be another 10 years until it's doubled, but it's really not been that much of a difference for me in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. And so we were chatting before, and I was like, so was you by yourself, or did you have someone else supporting you the time you went through, and you weren't 100% clear?
I think I had a VA.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just got my VA.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. That's fine. One of the reasons we talk about it, so like I had Fiona on, who she got to VAT registered all by herself, but then was very honest that it was a lot of work. Like, she got to the point where actually, yes, her business, her revenue had got to that point, but what she was saying, if you looked at what she was making per hour, it was basically pathetic, because she was having to just put in so many hours. And then actually she ended up really changing her model, and has now like carried on like growing and growing in terms of revenue, but now has a team, and that's enabled her to actually have a better quality of life, growing her revenue, and not like basically just burn out because she's just there all day like making content, doing social media posts. So that is what we're talking about, because actually sometimes with people as well, it's like it can be that you have to get other support in order to make it like work and be the best for you. Like, you've got a very slim model and that works for you. Like, have you ever considered growing it more, or is your thing like, I want to try and stay slim and lean?
I've always tried to stay slim and lean
in body and in business.
I mean, that's a different story. That's a different live. Yeah, I obviously, well, not obviously. I have a few freelancers that I use when I get busy, or just to help me out on bits of code, or just if ever I get too busy, or if I get too many clients that have a deadline at the same time. Do I want to have a bigger team? Not really. No. I mean, I'm going to say no, but not really.
No, I mean, it's a real it's just a conversation, because I think that is an implication on the model. Like, one of my big things for doing this series was all about actually, like, it's not about the revenue really. Like, the VAT thing is just, it's a landmark on the outside to be able to talk about, but really it's about actually increasing revenue, so the business owners are actually putting more money back in their pocket. Like, that's what I'm actually like really like, passionate about. And so this is the thing about the team is like, you can end up growing your team, and that has a negative actual impact on you and what you take home. So there's this balance, like it can give you more capacity, but it can give you more stress, and it can be more costs, and it doesn't.
Yes. I want a peaceful life.
Yeah, but the opposite was Fiona absolutely was like having her team. She is hands down like that was the best thing she did. So I think it's really interesting.
I've heard very few good, positive, reviews on having a team.
No.
But there are obviously some fantastic team members out there that would be a fantastic addition to my company. And I mean, never say never, but right at this moment in time, it's not on the goals list for 2023. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And don't worry, we're not going to like come back in 5 years and like
dig out the
video and be like, you said you didn't want it. Like it absolutely can. And that's not like, I'm a big thing about like the seasons of life. It could absolutely be in the future that you are like, what? I want a team. I want to grow this agency. Totally. I want to have more people. But it was more just a thing right now. So now like I'm slim and I'm lean and I'm happy with that. But as you said, that one might not be on the cards for 2023. But is there anything that you are like, this is what I'm going for next year?
We haven't done our goals yet, Cheryl.
So for anyone who doesn't watch and know, so me and Cheryl, we do our goals together, and we do 12-week years together. So we do 4 times a year. We sit down and set our goals, and we haven't. So I have really put you on the spot.
You have.
It's only because you mentioned that the team wasn't on the list for 2023. So I just wondered if there's anything else that you like.
Yeah, I started about 2 weeks ago. We've got an agency mastermind. So the thought process has started. Okay. So yeah, watch this space really. I don't even know. I mean, I've got ideas, Web3, Web2, like there's just so much. There's so much going on.
Yeah, there is so much. And this is one of the things we always have. So many opportunities and so many things that we can be focusing on, so many different ways we can take our business. And like that's the thing, as business owners, we have choice. That is our prerogative that we get. Now, is there any, I was trying to think if anything, so you were like quite honest that you've got your accountant and you're very happy to let him do all the numbers side of it. Like that's definitely not your strength. You're not interested or whatever. And I know you seem to have quite a good relationship with your accountant. That's definitely not what everyone does have. So I don't know whether it could like how you found a good accountant, how you built a good relationship with your accountant. Just like I definitely know it's something people have been in my DMs a bit like it's hard to find someone.
Yeah, it's really hard. I have a Zoom call with my accountant quarterly. And I've been with him for 13 years. We have a great relationship. I think I cried on him twice in the pandemic. Proper tears, the whole shebang. So that was referral 13 years ago. Built up a relationship, and we just got a really good relationship where I can email when we're booking a call, or they do my bookkeeping, VAT return, everything. I'm just like, right, you guys can do it.
Okay, well that's good. And I think maybe that's for anyone listening, I think the lesson really is just like find someone. Like it's really good you said you get a quarterly meeting. That is definitely not the norm.
I know that's not the norm, and everyone I say, oh, I have a quarterly call with my accountant, they're always a bit gel.
Yeah, because it makes a big difference, like actually keeping an understanding of the reality of where your business is like right now and understand the finances of it. And like you said, with that's probably why you spotted well, even though you didn't catch it quite as quickly, but that's why you were on it a bit more than someone who only talks to their accountant once a year, and it's literally just a very much transactional, they do their accounts, end of year stuff, whatever, and that's it. So it's a different relationship. And I've had a few people that were accountants and other financial coaches people, and they were just saying like keep looking for a person that actually works for you. And sometimes it can be that your accountant offers those services, but they're just not offering it to you right now. So sometimes it's like actually have a good chat.
It takes a while, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, after 13 years of me going, I don't get it. I don't get it. poor David.
I mean, but their job is to make it so you do understand it, because at the end of the day, like you said, the book still does stop with you. So as a business owner, you still do need to understand the actual numbers. And you know, like we've spoken about how like one of the things around like pricing is like, if you don't really understand the numbers in your business, then making those pricing decisions are going to be hard. Like they're definitely not going to help you with your pricing. So it's like you have to understand the numbers of your business so you can do that part. So it's like, yeah, you don't need to learn how to do a VAT return and how to do corporation tax and how to do self-assessment and everything, but there are some parts of your business finances that you do need to know, because your accountant isn't going to help with that, and that is your responsibility.
I know everything about my accounts, what my bills are, everything.
You're very good. You have it all. You're very, very good. So is there anything
I wasn't
else?
always.
I know you weren't always, but you are now. You're good now. And that's the thing, it's a journey. Like if you are someone that's like, actually it's not where my head's at, no one learns all these things overnight. Even the accountant didn't know them all straight away.
I made it a priority. I think around 2017 I was just surprised every year when I got my bill, the tax bill. I'd be like, what and then in 2017, around that time, I was like, right, enough. I need to know what's going on. And I just made it one of my goals one year, and now I'm on the ball.
And I'm very glad you did, because it shocks me and it horrifies me. And I know we're going into December and January, so I know we're going to hear it more and more, where people are just like, oh, I've got to pay my tax bill, and I had no idea it was this much. And I'm like, how did you not know? I've literally known the exact number I need to pay for the 1st of April. What's wrong with you?
I remember I was in Dubai scoping out, I don't know, in 2014, 12, 13, 14, one January. It was for work. And I remember getting my tax bill and thinking, oh my God, I need to go home and pay this tax bill. I was so shocked. And that was, never going to happen again.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's the lesson. We never need to do it. Firstly, if you are in any way, shape, or form thinking you're gonna end up getting VAT registered next year, you need to keep an eye on your numbers, because you need to know when that 12 months ticks over. And it's also just a good lesson in general to like stay on top of it, like actually understand like the level of profit you are making in your business, so you know what your tax bill is, but also you can be really aware of what like you're actually really taking. And it fascinates me sometimes, because I think actually sometimes you could be taking home more money but you don't really realize it at the time, because if you're not on top of it, once you know your numbers, actually it will help you, or it will help you to have that motivation to be like, actually I want to make more, and I understand enough how the finances of my business work now to understand what I need to do. So is there anything else that you're like in this journey of growing a business that you're like you want to share?
So I'm a creative through and through. I've always been not always. I've always been in the mindset of that I'm the creative and my accountant is the finance, and that's all great. But again, in 2017, when I changed my mindset around the whole finances and being on top of it, knowing what's going on, knowing what's in your bank account, on a daily basis, looking at your bank account on a daily basis and getting into that new way, new mindset is something that I wish I did sooner rather than later.
No, and I think it's quite interesting, like you talk about like looking at your account every day and your money mindset, and like money mindset, I definitely feel like it's probably one of the most important things for business owners to do, and so many people don't do it. And I'm like, if anything about like your pricing at the moment makes you sick, it probably means you need to do some money mindset work. That's like basically the thing, because like I think I've probably been doing it now like 6-7 years since I originally found good old Denise Duffield Thomas back in 2016. But because we all have so many stories, but the thing is, as business owners, we have to work through that, otherwise it does actually impact our businesses. It actually impacts what we're able to charge, and like, part of this thing I've been saying was about is just actually raising your ambition. Like for some people, just even to wish, because to hit 85k, we're talking about 7k months. Some people are like, that's not that's not even in their like vicinity. And it's like, that's why money mindset works. It's this idea of like raising our expectations, raising what we think is possible for ourselves. Because my big thing is, you're in a business by yourself, it's hard work, so you just get paid for it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not always sitting there in Dubai having a nice life.
I mean, you can.
No, not in your, no, because you're an example, because you're actually a true like actual service provider done for you. You do work. You actually have to sit there and make websites for people.
Yeah, I physically do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a very different like scenario where actually if you're doing that work, you want to make sure you are getting paid for that, because that is your time and you deserve to get properly paid for that time and that expertise. Like you said, you've been doing this for, I can't remember how many years now, 12, 13, 14?
Well, on my own for 13.
Okay, there you go.
But,
in the middle. Longer with other people.
Longer. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to hope that you've inspired people to say, Cheryl's not talking complete and utter craziness. We're going to go for this. 2023, I'm going to be like, right, I'm going to take this cap. I'm going to take this limitation off myself. I'm going to do that money mindset work and be like, I'm going to let this money reign in my business. What would be one piece of advice you'd give them to be like, go for it, basically?
The one piece of advice is look at your bank account every day. Make sure you know what's going on at the end of the month, end of the year. Work backwards. What do you need to earn extra a month to be VAT registered? I mean, it might not even be that's the goal. It might be the 100K, which everyone sort of seems to have as their sort of, top tier. But just work out what you need, work backwards. Are there products and services? Is it even possible? And I think mindset's massive. So definitely you can get started with a few books, which Cheryl might have a few suggestions for.
I mean, definitely, you know me, I'd definitely be like, Get Rich Lucky.
I mean, look at a bookshelf.
I know. I was like, what's on the top? What's on the old top? Get Rich Lucky Bee. That has always been my first one.
It's a great book. It's a great book. But again, if you haven't got any pricing mindset issues, and actually you just you need to get yourself out there. I am a massive advocate of networking. It's not what you know, it's who you know. My dad always used to say that to me. And get yourself out there, whether that be online or face-to-face networking.
Yeah, I'm really glad actually you touched on that at the end, because that is also the thing. Like, this has been very much about raise your aspirations to go for it. But the reality is, once you've actually done, like you said, you've done the calculations, you've got pricing that makes it feasible, you got to sell. Like, you need to actually get out there.
Ultimately, you've got to get yourself out there.
You got to sell yourself. And the fact is, if you are sitting here now and you are like, right, this is something I want to go for in 2023, then like having that financial goal is one thing, and having the like physical capabilities within your business and everything, but then you've actually got to work out how you're actually going to sell what you like, your services. So I'm really glad you brought that up. So thank you so much, and thank you for being my final guest. I can't believe it's all over. Little sad tear, but thank you so much if you've tuned into this one, if you've tuned into all of them. I have had an amazing time. So I made this series as part of the LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program, which finishes this week, but there was 5 videos, so you can go back, you can go watch all of them. And obviously I'm still going to be super passionate about inspiring other solopreneurs to raise their revenue and make more money, because if you are doing all that work by yourself, you deserve to get paid well. So thank you so much, and who knows what's going to come next. Bye-bye.